Hey everybody, it's September 1985. I bet you didn't know that. So here I am with the books I read in September 1985. We're going to jump right in because the first book that I read in September of 1985 is Death Wish by Brian Garfield. It seems appropriate. I'm recording this on Sunday, March 4th, 2018, and just 2 days ago, Friday, March 2nd, the new Death Wish movie starring Bruce Willis, directed by Eli Roth, that just opened in theaters. So quite a nice little coincidence there. So Death Wish by Brian Garfield. This is not a novelization. This is a novel on which the movie is based. And I thought it was a fantastic novel. And I believe, I'm 95% certain, the ending of the book is different than the end of the movie. Unfortunately, I can't remember which ending is which, so I'm not even going to get into that. But there are plenty of differences in the book. Big difference at the end. A book well worth reading. And you'll see some more Brian Garfield's going to come up. But Death Wish. And I believe I know I'd seen the movie before I read the book. It's just one of those I came across in the library. And I was like, oh yeah, I liked that movie. I'm going to pick this up and read it. All right, number 2 for September 1985. The Wanderer, His Parables and Sayings by Khalil Gibran. I'm not sure that's how you say his name. I've heard it a number of ways, but that's the way I say it, Khalil Gibran. I had a friend with whom I would correspond by actual written letters back in the day. So we would write, because we did not live in the same town, and she would always end her letters with a quote from Khalil Gibran. I had no idea who this person was, had never read any of his stuff, never heard of him. So I asked her after a couple letters and these quotes, I said, well, who the hell is this? And she told me, so I looked him up and decided to read some of his stuff. So The Wanderer, His Parables and Sayings. Basically, Khalil Gibran, in my head anyway, he's a poet and I suppose a philosopher, and his writing is usually very inspirational, very spiritual. His most well-known book is The Prophet, which may be in the list. It's possible I read it before this. I haven't looked ahead to see. Yeah, it was just something a friend recommended, and I decided to read it. The Wanderer, His Parables and Sayings by Khalil Gibran. Apparently, September was a very inspirational month for me because book number 3 is Jonathan Livingston Seagull by Richard Bach. Again, just it's an inspirational book about following your dreams, going beyond your normal bounds. I don't know. It's been a long time since I read it. I never revisited the book. So there you have it. I don't have much more to say about that one. Number 4, The Sicilian by Mario Puzo. This is, for those who don't know, a companion piece to the Godfather series. It's Michael Corleone was exiled to Sicily for a while, and he meets the main character, the Sicilian, is Salvatore Giuliano, who is sort of a Robin Hood type character in Sicily, if I recall correctly. And it's his story, Salvatore Giuliano. And I want to say this was made into a movie with Christopher Lambert. I'm not even sure. I think that was a movie. I think he was in it, and I may have seen it. But I would say the book is as good as anything else that Puzo wrote. I don't have anything bad to say about it. It's just been so long, I really don't remember much. Yes, a lot of this in this list at this point. Trust me, we're going to get to a point where I remember what the hell I read. Next, The Garden of the Prophet by Khalil Gibran. the follow-up to his most famous book, The Prophet. And again, simply inspirational, spiritual type stuff. Just, I'm not sure religious is quite the right word, because I'm not sure it pushes any particular religion, just sort of a spiritual life, for lack of a better way to put it. Haven't read any of this stuff in a long time. Here we go. Now this is something at least I think most of my regular viewers are going to dig. Where was I at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 6, Cycle of the Werewolf by Stephen King. Is this Stephen King's only werewolf novel? And it's barely, I mean, without the illustrations, it probably, even with, it might just be novella length. But hey, it's some werewolf stuff by Stephen King. I believe the illustrations are by Bernie Wrightson, one of the greatest horror illustrators of all time, co-creator of Swamp Thing. His illustrated Frankenstein is absolutely amazing. And his illustrations for this, if I'm correct, and I'm, again, 99% sure it's Bernie Wrightson that illustrated this. And I read that illustrated version, that big, wonderful version. People who watch my videos, people who know me, know I'm not the biggest fan of Stephen King. I love some of his stuff. I hate some of his stuff. Cycle of the Werewolf. It helps that it's not one of his huge novels. Great story. Good movie, too, I think, from what I remember. I know I saw it. I have not seen it in a long time. Not in my top 5 werewolf movies, but certainly not in the bottom 5 either. Yeah, some Stephen King on the list. I don't own a copy. I wish I would love to have one of those illustrated copies. That would be fantastic. So Cycle of the Werewolf. And then back to the weird stuff. The stuff you're going, why in the world did you ever read that? We have Rage of Angels by Sidney Sheldon. This is the second Sidney Sheldon in 1985 that I read. I had to look it up, didn't remember anything about it. The main character is a woman. She's a lawyer, gets involved with the mafia. That's all I got for you on that one. And then finally, the third Khalil Gibran, Sand and Foam. And again, essentially inspirational, spiritual, poetic type stuff. And that's it. That's what I read in September of 1985. I must have had a spiritual awakening. I don't know. I am an atheist, but I have no problem with reading this stuff. It's interesting. If something's well written, I want to read it. So, yeah, that's what I got for you this month. If you have any comments, questions, corrections, if you know how to pronounce Khalil Gibran properly, put them in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. I don't know what we would spoil, but if we get into spoilers, just post a spoiler warning. Please like, share, and subscribe. And that's it. I'll see you next week. Until then, read more books.